Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, let's look at what visa officers know at the time of the interview. What the visa officers know at the time of the interview. If you are preparing for any visa interview, being it a student visa, being it a work visa, irrespective of the visa that you are going to apply for, then this video is for you. First thing first, when you are applying for a visa to travel to another country, what you have to know is that there are some important information that the visa officer already know before you get even to the interview room. Now, the first thing the visa officer know before the interview is the application. The application that you apply. Your application, you have completed the application online and submitted. So even before you go for the interview, the visa officer knows everything regarding your application. For example, your personal information, your purpose of travel, the documents you submitted, all this information, the visa officer is already aware and has already studied your documents. So even before you enter to the interview room, he knows or she knows everything about what is going on. So visa officers are well-trained professionals. They are well-trained to know the ins and outs of every applications that you apply or we apply for in terms of visa, and we want to travel to their respective country. So before you even step into that interview room, they already have a lot of information about you. So it's important that when you go for the interview, you do not say otherwise, meaning whatever information they already know. Once you are asked any question, you just have to answer as it is, because if your answers contradict with what information they already have, that will be a red flag for your visa approval. So here's what they already know before they start asking you questions. They know about your application, as I said earlier on. They also know about your travel history. They know every country that you have traveled to. That is, if you have a travel history or if you have traveled to other countries before. They know whether you illegally stayed in the country. They know whether when you travel to that particular country you overstayed or you didn't go by the requirements of the visa. For example, if you applied for a student visa to another country before, and when you travel to that particular country, instead of going to school, you rather diverted and use the student visa to do some jobs, they already know, because once you are caught in that particular country and they enter the details, the reason why you were arrested or deported, it goes into your travel history. All right, and because of the technology world that we find ourselves in now, once you are caught up in a different country and it's entered into the system, then it goes everywhere. So when you applied for a visa to another country, once your passport details or whatever is typed into the system, they know your history. So your travel history is the second thing the visa officers know before the interview. They know about your travel history. So if you overstayed in another country, that can be a red flag for your visa. Unless you overstayed in another country, you had an immigration official letter that maybe shows that, okay, this is the reason why you overstayed in that country, to prove beyond reasonable doubt that, okay, going into this country again, I will not overstay. So one, they know about your application. Two, they know about your travel history. Now let's look at the third thing that they know about before your interview. They know about your financial situation before you even enter to the interview room. So irrespective of the visa that you want to apply for, the visa officer knows about your financial situation. What is financial situation? Talking about your source of income, your bank statement, anything that relates to money. Okay, they already know, because travel involves money. You travel, you buy air tickets, you have to book accommodation, you have to buy food and all that. So it's all money. So once you apply for the visa officer already knows about your financial situation. Before you go into the interview room, knows about the source of income, and then your bank statement, all the money going in, all the money going out. So an advice I want to put out here is that when you apply for the visa, or when you are preparing to apply for the visa, don't take a huge sum of money and deposit into the account, and then maybe 1 month or 2 months later you print out and say you're going to apply. That's a red flag. Okay, that's one of the things that many people do, and then they get rejected. So, and I have a personal experience with that. When you are applying for a visa, it's important that you build up your bank statement or your financials, okay, for some period of time. Let's say maybe for 3 months or 2 months, let some money goes through the account, deposits, withdrawals, payment, and all that. But if you wait until a month or two to the visa interview, and then you just pick a huge sum of an amount and then you deposit into the bank, your account, that's a red flag. Once before you get to the interview, the visa officer knows very well that no, because of the traveling, that is why you have maybe gotten some money to put into your bank account. So I will advise that you build up your account for some months, several months before you even apply for the visa. It shows your bank statement's integrity. The fourth thing the visa officer know before the interview is that your ties to your home country. Ties to home country is also another thing that when you apply for a visa, you can be rejected on if you don't have a strong ties back home. What I mean by strong ties back home is the visa officers assess whether you have strong ties in your home country. This includes your job, your family, if you have children, if there are any dependents that you are taking care of, if you have property or any business in your home country. Okay, they look at all this and they know the situation even before the interview. So your home ties to your country, your ties to your country is very important thing that you have to take care of, to look at when you are going for an interview. Have a strong connection. If you have a business at your home country, you can print, get a copy, any evidence. What shows that you have the evidence? Your certificates, your licenses, and all that, your bank statements to support. If you are working, you have to prove with maybe your offer letter, your contract, your employment letter, some recommendation from the company if possible. It also builds some ties for you. If you have any family that you are taking care of, you can write a letter to prove that, or every month or every 2 months, this is what I do for my dependent. If it's your mom, you can say your mom or your dad or your brother, whoever, and then you add it as a supporting document, okay, to prove that you have that ties back home. If you're a student and you are not working, or you have nothing to do and all that, then chunk of the documents has to come from your sponsors or your parents who is sponsoring your education. Now let's look at the fifth thing. It's your visa denial history. You know, when you apply for a visa and you get denied or you are rejected, it's built up into the system. Okay, so if you apply for country A and you were denied, when you are applying for country B to visit or for school or whatever, in your application, just be honest and said yes, you were denied, and then add the reasons why you were denied, and then we can make a copy of that letter that you were denied and then add it to the supporting document, because the visa officer knows particularly that you were either denied or not denied. So if you have any denial or if you have any visa rejection, it's better to be honest and then tell the truth. If you are not honest about that, the visa officer already knows, and that can be a red flag and go against your visa approval. So this doesn't automatically yes, it doesn't automatically disqualify you. However, it will prompt them to scrutinize your application more carefully, because if they are already aware, not even if, they are already aware that you have been denied a visa before. So during the interview, when it comes to questions about that, if they are asked, or if you are asked, just say yes, you were denied because of A, B, C, D, and I have the evidence here to support it. You just present your evidence. All right, if you were not denied, then there wouldn't be any question. Sometimes the visa officer can also ask you that whether you've been denied before, because sometimes there are some people who may be denied and they wouldn't say so in the system or when they are applying. So visa officers, as I said earlier on, are very well trained. Like, they are really trained and they know exactly what they are doing, and they are working under so much pressure because there are hundreds of people coming for the interview. So there is so much time for them to spend on you. There isn't so much time to spend on you. So make sure that you are well organized, and put it also in your mind that they already know information about you. They already have information about you that you are not aware of. So once you enter into the interview room, it's just better to be honest with all your answers, to eyeball with a smile and speak. And if there is any red flag, you can have your visa, okay? So whether you are applying for a tourist visa or study visa or a work visa, these are the three key areas they will focus. Based on my personal experience and the research I have done, I have come to realize that these are the three main key areas that they will look at. And you have to prepare very well on these three. All other things are important, but there are some key important factors that they take very note of. One, your intent to return to your home country. This is very key to the visa officer. The visa officer will assess or will check to know that, okay, you want to travel to their country. Are you sure you're going to return back home? Okay, because they don't want you to be an outlaw in their countries or stay in their country illegally. So your intent, what is your intent? All right, what shows that you can return back home? And that is why before you go for the interview, they already know about your home ties, your ties to your home country. So one of the biggest concerns for a visa officer is whether you will return to your home country after your visit or your study or the business, irrespective of it. They want to know that, okay, for this purpose of traveling, you are returning back. And what is the evidence that you are returning back? If you have good travel history, that's a plus. If you don't have a good travel history, that's a red flag that the visa officer will also take into consideration. They don't want you to overstay in their country. That is it. Or they don't want you to remain in their country illegally. All right, illegally. So Donald Trump is preparing to, deport a huge number of illegal immigrants. That means that these people are in the country without documentations. Okay, so when you are traveling to countries like that, no country would like people to come and live there illegally. It creates some sorts of inconveniences for them. So countries are strict when it comes to people without documentations. Countries are very strict without people. My experience in China, sometimes you can be walking and the police will just ask you about your documentation, your passport or something. If they check and you're living in the country, they can checks the interview, your intent, assess your intent to your home country. And one of the things that they will look at is your strong ties. Okay, what is your ties to your home country that prove that you are going to return back home and you are not going to stay in the country illegally? So you may be asked questions like questions about your job, you may be asked questions about your family, you may be asked questions about investments back home and all that, family, children, husband, wives back home. Or because the visa officer wants to know your truly intent. So the strong ties to your home country, these are some areas that they will look at. Now, your job or business, your family and social ties, okay, your future plans, they will also look at all that to determine whether indeed you have the intent to return back to your home country. If after all these questions about your job or business, if all questions comes under your family and the visa officer comes to the conclusion that okay, you don't have good intent to return back to your home country, then it's a red flag, you wouldn't get a visa. All right, so you need to have strong ties and build up a strong case for your visa application. The second thing that the visa officer will check during the interview is your financial capability to support yourself. Okay, so irrespective of the visa you are applying, the visa officer during the interview wants to check that okay, you have enough money to support your travel, you have enough money to support your education, you have enough money to do the business that you're coming to the country to do. All right, and if it comes to the conclusion that after checking your bank statements and savings, after checking your investment, after checking your employment, that is if you are employed and you're not a student, after checking all those things, when the visa officer comes to the conclusion that okay, you don't have enough money to support yourself for the travel that you're going, then okay, that's a no. And then he or she will make the decision about that. So even if you are being sponsored for a tourist or whatever it is, make sure that your sponsor or whoever is sponsoring you gives you some supporting documents like recommendation letter, the sponsor's bank statement, some investment bank statements can all support it. The business registration can all be part of this evidence to support your case that financially you are capable. And you should also have some little bit of amount to support to show that even if my sponsor is not able to sponsor me for unforeseen situations when I travel, here's my bank statement to also prove that oh indeed I can also rely on my own funds. So if you are working, it's important that you also have some financial muscles in your bank account to support what the sponsor is also giving to you. The purpose of your trip is the next thing that the visa officer will check during the interview. The purpose of your trip. So the visa officer will check whether the purpose of your trip is consistent with your visa type. So if you apply for a tourist visa, then make sure that the purpose of why you are traveling is related to holidays, vacation, or anything that relates to fun activities. Okay. However, if you apply for a tourist visa and then your purpose of visit during the interview you are asked and then you say otherwise, then that's a red flag. So make sure that it's for work, you concentrate on work. If it's for tourists, your answers are specific to tourists. You don't have to mix it up. Once there is inconsistency in the visa type and then your purpose of travel, then that's a red flag. Especially to friends out there who are applying for student visa. All right, student visa. Once you are going to study and you are asked your purpose of traveling, let all your responses relate to academics, studies. You don't have to say anything that will relate to work or a job or employment. It will create inconsistency in your application and that can really affect you. So you make sure that it's tourist, then holidays, vacation, any activity that relates to that. If it's for work, let the purpose be for work. You don't have to make any consistencies that can affect your visa. So be clear and let your purpose be specific. Clear and specific. All right, clear and specific. Okay, your supporting documents will also be checked under this, because the visa officers will always want to make sure that the purpose of your trip matches the type of visa you are applying for. So be clear and consistent. Have a clear and consistent purpose. Don't make otherwise. Have a clear and consistent support. Then your supporting documents also have to be consistent with your travel purpose or with the purpose of your trip. Have documents, supporting documents that shows that indeed you have a strong purpose for the trip. So you have to go along with all the necessary documents that can back up your purpose, that can really convince the visa officer that, oh, indeed, you apply for tourist visa, and looking at your supporting document, it's truly that you have good intent to return back home. And then your past travel experience. There is no reason for you to lie in your past travel experience. If you don't have any travel experience, no, you don't have it. If you have any travel experience, good or not good, just make sure that you make everything clear. If you were deported, if you overstayed in any country, explain with some extra letter and then support it with the evidence why you were deported or overstayed in the country, because your previous times, your previous visas in your passport can show that you have traveled responsibly. When you travel and you are checking out from the country, you are given a stamp. When you are checking into the country, you are given a stamp. Let me give you an example. From Vietnam to the UK, I was given a stamp. All right. From Ghana, when I was going to China, I was given a stamp in and out. All right. Singapore to China, I was given a stamp in and out. Philippines, I was given a stamp in and out. So it shows. So for example, if you travel to the US and you are given a 30-day stamp, make sure that you go by the 30 days. Just for an example, make sure that you go by the 30 days. All right. For example, Singapore is visa free for Ghanaian citizens like me, and I went there. When I went, I spent 2 weeks out of the 30 days. Then I left. So it shows that, okay, I'm a responsible traveler. I don't come to the country to overstay there or do anything illegally. So the next time they will look at that. So all your travel experience is on record. So if you have any bad travel experience that is in the system, remember that when you are applying for a visa, you give explanations and then support it with a document or an evidence that show that indeed there is a reason why you overstayed. There is no reason to lie about your visa applications. There is no reason. Once you lie, it can go a long way to affect you. Knowing the 3 things that visa officers knows before the interview, and also giving you some of the things that a visa officer will check during the interview. Let's look at the final part, which is the 3 red flags. 3 red flags visa officers look for. All right, because the visa officer wants to be really sure that indeed you are what do you call it? You are a genuine traveler. You have good intent to the country that you are visiting. So let's look at 3 red flags. 3 quickly red flags. 1, inconsistent information can go a long way to affect you, and that's red flag number 1. Inconsistent information. If your answers to the visa officer's questions don't match to the information on your application or the supporting documents, that's a red flag. Therefore, be consistent with your answers throughout. Another red flag is vague or unclear purpose. All right, you are going for a tourist, so is your purpose really clear that indeed you are going for a tourist, or you will take advantage of that and do a short course if you are not allowed to do a short course, right? Okay, so you have to look at all that and make sure that it's really clear. If your purpose is not clear, then it gives a red flag to the visa officer to deny you. Now, financial insecurity. If your finances don't line up with the expenses of your trip, this could be a significant red flag. All right, for example, you are traveling to the US and your total expenses, for example, let's say is 5,000. I'm just giving an example. It's 5,000, and then you are traveling to the US and your bank statement is $4,000 or $3,000. Your expenses is way higher than the your bank statement, so there is an inconsistency there. You don't have good financials, so, or even if you have more in your bank statement, so the visa officer, before they will make a decision on your financial insecurity, they look at your bank statement, the income that you have, and then they will look at the expenses that you are going to incur. So this is your expenditure, this is your income. Is it reasonable or not reasonable? If it's reasonable, bingo. If it's not reasonable, red flag. So, okay, be prepared with solid proof of financial status. Be prepared with solid proof of financial status, and make sure it's evident that you can support yourself while traveling or abroad. Let's make sure that you have enough in the bank statement. All right, so that's it. The 3 things the visa officers know before your interview, the 3 things or some of the things that they will check during the interview, and the 3 flags that they will look for whilst you are applying for the visa. I hope this information will help you out there, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Share this information or share this video to a friend, to a loved one. Let them be aware of this. Let them watch and learn some of the things in this video, so that in their subsequent visa application it can be helpful to them. All right, let's share together. Let's build a community whereby we share some of these together, so other people will not repeat the mistakes there. All right, and remember that visa officers are doing their job to ensure that you are visiting for the right reasons. They don't hate you, they like you, they love you, and they just doing their job. Okay, I'm not a visa officer. I'm just sharing this information with you based on my personal experience and also research I have made, and I'm sharing this with you. So they are just doing their job, and they want to make sure that you are visiting in their country for the right purpose. All right, so I have been denied visa before. All right, so I built my experience from that, and then subsequently I got approved. So don't be down when you are denied. Look at the situation, reapply, and that's it. Be honest, be well prepared, and don't lie in your applications. Just be honest. Don't lie in your visa application. Don't lie. Make sure all the information on it are honest. Integrity matters a lot when you are applying for visa. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more tips on visa applications, visa jobs, and traveling, landing your job in abroad. All right, and if you want to have a one-on-one section with me with visa guidance and your application and advice, the do's and don'ts, check on this link. All right, check the link here, and you can also find my website. You can check all the resources I have there, and then pick any of the resources that you be interested in. I have enough resources that I believe that it can really help you based on my travel experience and all that I have come to learn. And if you found this video helpful, please give me a like, share this video. Once again, share this video, and please let me know in the comment section your visa interview experience, your travel experience. It will be helpful for someone who is preparing to travel, or even preparing for a visa interview. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, peace.